The surviving lower courses are as large as those of his father's Great Pyramid. Howard Hawks filmed them for his Hollywood epic. But wasn't Jedra turning his back on his family at Giza, just like George Reiner thought? In fact, Jedra is quite a traditional king. He did exactly what his grandfather and father did. He built a monument on a new site. Far from abandoning Giza, Jedra then returned there to build the greatest of all his monuments, the Sphinx. But in an age before iron tools, how was the world's largest single stone sculpture actually built? No one will ever know who first thought of carving the Sphinx. But with its creation, Jedra would transform the Giza Plateau. No stones would need to be quarried, no ramps constructed, and no gangs needed to pull sledges. Instead, the raw stone was right there. One piece of limestone, growing out of the bedrock, would be transformed into the giant statue. The site had already been heavily quarried. Khufu had taken away stones to build the Great Pyramid, leaving a large piece of rock standing straight up in a flat basin. For Jedra, this was an opportunity to create something exceptional. This was the first big statue. It was an era of big things. They had built the biggest pyramid, and now they built the biggest statue. The two largest monuments of Egypt stood side by side. But the Sphinx wasn't merely self-aggrandizement on a large scale. What makes it so exceptional is that the statue had a difficult task to perform. Never in the history of sculpture had a single statue needed to achieve so much. The reason was that pharaohs believed they lived on forever after death. But this continuing life was only possible if their support on earth remained strong. Jedra was all too aware that his father's power had weakened toward the end of his life. Even during Khufu's reign, his mother's tomb had been raided, an unthinkable act that made a mockery of their beliefs. Without respect, there would be chaos, and everything would collapse. This was the core idea of ancient Egypt: life after death. The future of ancient Egyptian civilization now lay in Jedra's hands. He had to ensure that his father's power was reinstated at Giza to safeguard his own support on earth. Creating such an important, enormous image of Khufu the god and the dead king would improve both Khufu's image and Jedra's. This might explain why the Sphinx was built. Jedra needed to create an image that would strike awe into all who saw it. The result was not only monumental in size, but supremely powerful. Its impact remains unsurpassed to this day. Beautiful Vassal invited Glenn Williams, head of sculpture at the Royal College of Art, to help him understand how the Sphinx was carved. This was the first time Glenn had seen the Sphinx. "It's a beautiful, simple, and enormous piece," he said. "I don't think I've ever seen anything the size as a single object. I'm knocked sideways. I could stay here all day. It's a wonderful experience." Saying it's lovely would be so inadequate. In fact, most words are inadequate for it. All one can do is feast your eyes on it. To understand the skills of the ancient Egyptians, Vassal gave Glenn a square meter block of the same limestone to carve the Sphinx's face. Glenn remarked, "It looks soft and chalky. It's amazing." As he tried carving, he noted, "It's really soft and beautiful, yes. Have that done by tea time." Like the ancient Egyptian craftsmen, Glenn had to mark the outline to figure out which sections of stone to cut away. In carving, you have to think in reverse. You take away all the stuff that's not there. The nose has to be left, a piece of stone left for the forehead, and a piece left for the chin. It's like emptying a bath of water around an object. As the water goes out, it leaves the prominent bits up. Before he started carving, Glenn made a small model to work from. I find it very useful to have a maquette. You can simply put some basic measurements on it and knock off the bits of stone you don't want. I don't know whether the Egyptians did something similar, but it's likely, especially working on a scale like this.